The players used to come out and up the ramp and go to war for the city of Cleveland for so many years here at Cleveland Stadium. Good morning, everybody. It is a gorgeous day on the lake. It is, as usual, about 20 degrees colder inside this stadium than it ever is outside this stadium. And we are here, of course, for the Wednesday morning exchange before the final weekend of activity here at Old Cleveland Stadium before they tear it down and build up the new one that brings NFL football back with us. We have some special Browns legends, their wives, here to share some great moments. Brian Sipe is here. Jerry Shirk is here. Guys who stayed here, Bubba Baker, Cody Rison, Dick Shafrath, Robert Jackson, all people we will be talking to in just a few moments. Being so darn maudlin about this is a fun thing. This is a celebration of some great years at Cleveland Stadium. You talk about tossing it back, and here I am sitting here with a football in my hand, and the guy next to me is the one who ought to have it. Brian Sipe, among the guys who are joining us today. Since you're sitting next to me, I'll start with you. I was going to do this chronologically, but the Shafrath gets upset when we start with the old guy first. So I want to start. Brian, just so many. You walked into this place this morning, and obviously you've forgotten that it's always 20 degrees colder in here than it is anywhere else.
Well, I'll tell you, it was never cold in here when it was full of fans. We were always so full of excitement and had so much fun here. I don't remember the cold.
Oh, come on, a San Diego boy. There were some chilly days. Jerry Shirk, who came. You guys joined at the hip. Every time I see one of you now, I see the other. You guys who were back for the final game, did your video. Jerry, how much fun was that to be a part of those final moments here at the stadium when they were playing?
That was really rewarding, Bob, to come back here and to take part in that and to see the final chapter. It was sad, and yet it was a proper closing, I believe, for Brian and myself to do that. And Brian and I were just both amazed at how much a town loves a team, the Cleveland Browns. It's just incredible. And we still get that feeling when we come back.
Now, there will be some barking done today. I'm having a hard time getting Hanford to play touch football with us, but Hanford, you guys created something that is actually going to continue to live in the new stadium, a dog pound.
Well, you're exactly right, and it's good to know that. But you're talking about playing some touch football. Now, I could maybe do some jogging with you, but the sprinting, just a little too old for that now.
Hey, you could still cover me even if I was at my best, I'm sure.
Yeah, especially as Brian throwing the ball.
There we go.
Yeah, but if he can't, he'll pull a hamstring.
That's right.
Oh, he'll come up lame. Robert, they always put the linemen on the end, don't they?
Well, we're kind of the anchors of everything.
Is that it? You're one of the guys, as a number of these guys are, who stayed. You weren't from here, didn't grow up here, but stayed. That's what really this whole thing is about, isn't it? It's not about the stadium and it's not about the football games. It's about Cleveland.
Well, it is about Cleveland. I think when we played, players played for the same team for a lot of years and developed that relationship with the fans and got to actually know the people. And Cleveland's my home now and will be for a long time.
Yeah. Back behind you, a guy who played in 2 or 3 cities, is a legend in all of them, and yet also picked Cleveland as home. Bubba Baker. How's the barbecue sauce moving?
It's going very well,
Okay.
and
we get that plug in before he.
Yeah, as well as Robert, I'm not from this area either, and I've decided to stay. And Cleveland's been great to me, and I guess this whole thing that's going on here is for me to play here only 3 years. Cody and I were just talking about that. All of the emotion, I get the same feeling as some of these guys who played here, 10, 11 years, and that's just the way Cleveland affects people.
Yeah, 3 years, and you had some great. You had some games on this place.
I've been very blessed to have left teams like up north, and we won't name any names, no negatives, but I just feel very blessed to have finished my career here as a Cleveland Brown, and now that my family and I have chose to make it home, I just feel like the blessings continue to go on.
Yeah, one of the most fun things about being here this morning is seeing these guys interact with each other. They've seen each other off and on over the years. Cody, you stay in touch with an awful lot of them. Cody Rison, who of course was an anchor on this team for a number of years. You hang tight with these guys, and you guys stay in touch some, and that is that's part of being on a team, isn't it?
Oh, well, that's right. One of the benefits of staying here in Cleveland is when Jerry and Brian, these guys come in, I always get to see them. But this is a kind of a sober week this week, and as the stadium's closing and all the activities that are going on, but a lot of memories here, a lot of good memories.
And now we'll so we saved the best for last, right? Dick
that's right,
Shafrath, the guy who really was the left tackle in Cleveland Browns history, and in fact, I was surprised we could find video that had you and Jim Brown in it that was in color. It did exist. You have been a spearhead in keeping the alumni together and keeping the alumni involved in keeping the spirit alive here in Cleveland. Tell us how that's
Thanks,
going.
Bobby. Well, it's going great. As you can see, there's not too many old timers here. Most of them are in the old age home. But this stadium, by the way, is really awesome empty. I've never been out here with an empty like this. This is really something. In the 13 years that I played or came out here, we never was on a losing season. It was always full. It was always exciting. And it's really a different experience. And you brought up the alumni, which I grew up here in Ohio. I remember coming here as a young boy. I lived 60 miles south of here, and it was so exciting to be able to play in this stadium. And it's really a different feeling now that you're going to have to live without football for the first time in 50 years here in Cleveland. And it's kind of a very dead, emotional, dry, empty feeling that I'm experiencing right now.
Do you miss it? I mean, this last 3 weeks without.
I don't miss it. I just know everybody around me, especially kids. This was an environment that was very positive for kids, and they heard their grandpa and their grandma and their fathers talk about football, and now there's no football. And that's what tradition is all about, coming up from the roots of the families from years ago. And that's what will be missed so much here.
All right, we've done all that. We got to tell some stories. I want to start with Dick on stories. We got some video of you and Jim Brown from the championship game in '64 that we're going to throw up here. You, of course, making the great blocks and making things happen.
No.
Is that still the highlight moment for you in this stadium? Is that title game in '64?
Of course it is. I think the greatest thing is we had this game won on Tuesday. We really knew we could beat them. I think that's the mark of a
There he is. Isn't he
team
cute?
that's prepared well. You can tell my gray hair. I now have to tint it gray. Blocking for Jimmy Brown, all you did is sprint for the goal line. You didn't wait on him. He'd run over. I got his cleat marks up and down my back. You don't hesitate, but the Baltimore Colts were supposed to win. It's always fun to play as an underdog. But there's Gary Collins. Gary should be in the Hall of Fame. Vinian did, but we had a lot of Hall of Famers play when I played. Both tackles, my coach, Paul Warfield. It was a great team to play with. Thank you.
Brian, we're going to show some video here of the '79 Monday Night Football game against the Cowboys. You were telling me a story. The one thing you remember about that game, it happened before the game?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, it was the first opportunity I had to meet Roger Staubach. I think part of the thrill of being in professional football at that time is that we all had a chance to meet some of the guys that inspired us to play the game. And I'll never forget, this town was on fire that night. On our way up to the stadium, all the marquees were wishing us well, all the electronic signs and whatnot. But to go out and really kick the ass out of the Cowboys in front of everybody was a treat.
On Monday Night Football. Look at that. You had the spinners going around.
Yeah, everything was
That was
going
Dave
right
Logan
that
with a
night.
touchdown, and there's Ozzie.
I can't believe he outran one of my passes. Yeah.
And the defense playing tough against
I'm
Roger.
telling you, this place was on fire. We just absolutely had a ball, and it's just great to be part of something as historically enjoyed as the Cleveland Browns.
Jerry, you're watching that video. Look at you guys. That was something, wasn't it?
Did I mention that I had 3.5 sacks that night?
Did you? When we have to go find video of you for people who ask, that's usually the game I go to, because you did have a big night. Everybody had a big night that night, didn't they?
Everybody had a big night, and myself, there were games that I played well and deserved it. That was one of those nights for me that everything kind of fell together, and I think Brian's hero, Roger Staubach, was getting a little old that night and didn't move that well. But Actually, I remember that as one of my last really good games.
Yeah. Hanford,
Don't even try it.
is there a game? No, I'm not even going to try it. A special game, Monday night game that you'll always remember in this place?
Yeah,
or-
but
or-
actually what I wanted to comment
Yeah.
was on that particular game because, as you all know, I was not here in
you,
79.
you were only 16
But
like me.
yeah.
We were
I
way
was
too young.
I was still back at the University of Southern Mississippi, but watching that game, I was really disappointed because at the time, I was a big Dallas fan coming out of college, so I want you guys to know you really hurt my feelings when you beat up on them
Probably
like
cost
that.
you a couple of bucks, too. in the
Yeah,
dorm, didn't it?
and actually, I was shocked to see Brian throw the ball like that.
You're such a sensitive guy, Hanford.
until I got here and I watched him play, and then I knew how good of a quarterback
Then
he
it-
really
then it-
was.
then it
Yeah,
wasn't so bad.
absolutely.
You know, Bobby, I got to play in the first game they ever had on Monday night. They played right here,
Uh-huh.
the Jets and the Browns and Joe Namath. That was the first time I ever saw a TV camera around the field. Oh, man, they were jammed around here. It was like some special event.
See,
the
we
country
thought
was
Dick was
showing.
older.
As a matter of fact, Jerry Shirk got famous that night,
Yeah,
didn't
he
you,
did.
Jerry?
Yeah, I was Howard Cosell's first sacrificial goat that night. It really was.
Hey,
It really
hey,
was.
Bob, you know
Yeah.
what? It's kind of funny that Jerry and I, we just really met. We just met
Yeah.
today, personally, but we actually put a defense in Detroit. After watching you take the inside and being in the backfield all night that Monday night, we put a defense in for Doug English, and it was called Jerry Shirk.
Hey.
How about that?
I'm
You've become
flattered.
the name of the
Us
defense.
linemen-
Well, it really is nice to meet you.
Yeah. No, they really did. We called it Jerry Shirk, and that meant just go where you wanted. And he did it well.
Now, Robert and Cody, offensive linemen, they do get to have memories of special games at this stadium, even though they're not always on the highlight films. Robert, one that'll you'll never forget.
I think what I remember is the rivalry we had with the Pittsburgh Steelers and all the battles we had. You know, I sit here on the field and I look over there and I remember I was battling out with Joe Green, and De Leon came from about 30 yards and cut him down from behind. I mean, we had a lot of fights, and then I remember right here on the field, the last game of the year, they won the war because I broke my ankle the fourth quarter, I think, and I'm laying on the field, and Brian comes over, geez, way to blow our dinner plans tonight. De Leon comes down, wants my gloves, and I said, these things aren't even cold yet. And they had to carry me all the way from that end of the field on a stretcher.
Yeah.
And we had equipment guys and trainers through the tunnel. I had them set me down. I was worried they were going to drop me making it that far. But I just remember all the battles that we had with the Steelers in particular.
At least you were smart enough as a lineman to do it on the end where they had to take you the whole way down, and 80,000 people had got to cheer for you all the way down the field, right?
I did. But one other comment,
Yes.
too. Jerry's here, and Jerry can probably elaborate on this. The time before the game, everybody thinks players are so macho.
I was about to ask you. I want you to explain.
So cold.
Robert and I can't remember what year it was, but on the way to the stadium, we were trying to figure out how to keep warm in one of those very, very cold December days. And so we stopped by one of the stores, maybe Kmart, and we bought some pantyhose.
Queen-size pantyhose to stay warm.
And,
Henry Shepard and pantyhose.
they were not petite. And so we had a little chuckle in the locker room watching each other put those things
But
on.
the other guys were jealous because they worked.
Question is, do you still have them?
No, no, I don't.
Pictures for the mind that I think we should probably let go. I tell you what, this is a great bunch. Thanks, guys, for coming down. We're going to have some of them back a little bit later on with their wives to talk about their special memories of this wonderful place, the beautiful Cleveland Stadium that will be coming down after this weekend. We're going to have more of the morning exchange coming up right after this. Things that is going to make the end of Cleveland Stadium really special is the fact that you're going to get a chance to own a piece of it and a piece of Browns history. Troy Shannon is with us, who's going to be doing the auction, which the auction is actually Tuesday and Wednesday of next week down here at the stadium. But this weekend, you can come down to the stadium and look at some of the stuff. I mean, there is a ton of stuff. Take me around the table here. What are some of the things people can get a hold of?
Okay, I'll tell you, we found an awful lot of very neat items here. We've got the
first down markers.
We got the chains, the first down markers that
Brian,
they
you
used
always
during
thought
the
they were only
game.
9 yards. You're going to find out. They're actually 11 yards apart. That's why those first downs were hard to get. The chains, you can actually get those.
Yeah, these are the ones that
Unbelievable.
were used in the games.
Okay.
We have
You got the
plenty
seats up
of
front.
seats. Yeah, we have plenty of stadium seats here. Again, great items.
The cones in the corner. Is Hanford still here? Yeah, he knocked over a few of these.
A couple of
The
them.
cones in the corners. We ought to mention the
Sure. We
the
have
catalog.
we have a catalog that we have prepared to aid the fans and to previewing the items.
Those of you who wanted the Jackie Onassis catalog and didn't get and got shut out of that one, you can still get this one.
Then.
Okay, we're going to throw up an 800 number for that. What? This looks like it. This is the first hole. This is golf.
Right. They had a hole-in-one contest here in the stadium, and we've got the pin and the flag and the cup for it, and just another really super item we found when going through the stadium.
Unbelievable. This is obvious. Although we never had cheerleaders. Where'd the pom-poms come from?
I can tell you, we went through and we found some orange sweaters here that said Browns on the front of them and some matching pants. And I guess early to mid 70s there were
Ladies, is this a fashion statement or what? Is this something you really? No. Okay.
And then here we have the pants.
And these are the
match them.
pants that went with them. Oh, very stylish. Very stylish. All right.
This is the last Browns flag that flew on top of the stadium.
Oh, boy.
It's a very large flag. It's got a Browns helmet on it, and that was another item that we didn't expect to find, but we're very pleased when we did so.
We even got the hot dog vendors. You know, those hot dog vendors who were always in the way. You might want one of these. We'll pull this out a little bit so that people can see it.
It's the official hot dog of the Browns.
Official hot dog of the Browns. When Oscar Mayer was that's neat. Now, any number of other stuff, obviously, that was too big to bring here. What's the biggest thing? What's the largest thing you got to deal with?
The largest thing would probably be the players' lockers. They were pretty good size, and we have all the players' lockers out of the locker room. We have a great number of turnstiles, ticket booths, great items.
All right, let's now what's the 800 number? Let's put the 800 number on the screen where you can get the catalog and also probably get more information on
Sure.
things coming up. Tuesday and Wednesday, the auction down here at the stadium. What's the 800 number?
It would be 1-800
Yes.
616-7875.
Very good job. You remembered the number. You're going to have to remember a lot of numbers, Troy.
I've said it quite a few times lately.
Thanks for joining us. That's
Hey,
really neat.
no problem.
Diane Downing is also with us because Diane is the future. This is all the past. By the way, we forgot something here. You can those yard markers that they used to put on the side of the field. Wow, huh? Diane Downing is joining us. Diane is the future. See, don't you like being the future of Cleveland Stadium? You're the project manager for this whole thing coming up.
Right.
Some big news coming up today
Yes.
for fans.
1 o'clock. We are going to present the conceptual design to Cleveland City Council.
Oh, boy.
And we'll have a model there and some renderings. And we're going to show Cleveland what a unique new stadium we're going to have.
All right, we can't show the pictures of it yet. We got to wait for 1 o'clock, but you can tell us kind of what it's going to look like. Where are you going to see? Have you got your seat picked out yet?
Oh, no. I think I'll wait a little while.
Yeah.
But it's going to certainly complement the other wonderful museums on North Coast Harbor. It will have a plaza dedicated to Paul.
Connie, indeed, a lovely day on the lakefront, and we have talked all day today about how times have changed and things have changed here at the stadium. They even change during a day. We were in the shade. It was about 35 degrees when we began the show today. Now it's beautiful sunlight. Life ain't bad. This stadium wasn't such a cold, dark, nasty place to play in after all, was it, Jerry?
No, this is actually Southern California weather.
Yeah, you don't feel quite so out of place now.
No, it's the same.
Folks ought to know, what is Jerry Shirk doing now in San Diego?
I'm a counselor, psychological counselor. I work a lot with children, and I have some programs where I actually use ex-NFL ball players to counsel at-risk kids.
Mm-hmm. And is there some psychology? Is there some reason why a guy would get into psychology and get into that from playing the defensive line? Have you ever tried to analyze that?
Probably to try to look around and see what happened to me when I played football, and try to sort of evaluate my own career. And I guess one of the big questions is, why would somebody want to play defensive tackle in the NFL? So that's probably why I went into psychology.
When you could have been in the backfield and you gotten all the glory like Sipe over there, right?
Yeah, one of those easy jobs.
Dick, of course, is now a representative of the people, going back to Columbus, staying busy doing that. You enjoying that? Do you enjoy working in Columbus?
Bob, yes. I'm state senator. I think playing 13 years here on this field, hitting the head enough times, I can qualify to be a good politician. Anyway, I do enjoy it. It's a nice challenge. I'm chairman of education, which is really a challenge, trying to help youngsters in the state of Ohio. I'm also president of the Alumni Association here, the Browns chapter, and we my wife and I, Jamie, have a canoe livery. I don't know whether you've ever been
I have.
to our canoe livery
Sure.
in Loudonville, but so I stay a little bit busy.
Now, people want to hear football stories today. You guys overlapped by a year or two, I
believe
think.
2 years.
Yeah, 2 years.
Right.
Well, what'd you think of this punk kid when he came in? You know, big hot shot out of Oklahoma State. Did you have to? You guys would have had to go against each other in some practices early on, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I never really, maybe I did once or twice, but
Yeah.
the amazing thing about Jerry is his quickness. I mean, you know, he didn't look that big, but he was deceiving, and he was fast. So he was over Hickerson quite a bit, and Gene was my roommate, and he said, we got to do something with this young kid from Oklahoma. You know, some way I got to hang on to him, and I was trying to tell him he was a professional at holding on. We needed Doug Deacon. Deacon was really
professional at holding on. But you taught him, didn't you?
Deacon?
Yeah.
No, Groza taught.
Groza. Oh, that's how it all started.
But, you know, the times changed so quick. Jerry wouldn't remember. I came here, there was no face mask.
Yeah.
We didn't have a face mask.
Is that what your face is?
I
looking at?
think that explains a lot of things.
Yeah.
You know, now Brian had the face masks, and you know, the quarterback still got hit an awful lot, and you probably got some fingers poked in your eye and a few other things like that.
You know, I don't believe I was ever even touched, was I, Robert?
No, we talked about 2 great games, never touched.
At least you never had the Turkey Jones bit. You never got planted into this turf.
Fortunately, Turkey and I were sharing the same sideline. I was there when Terry got planted upside down, though. It was hard for me to watch.
You didn't think that gave any Steeler guys any ideas, did they? That
They already had the ideas. There wasn't anything that we could add to that. Listen, well, these guys, since I always have to talk about my offensive linemen, I was told that I would get $5 if I mentioned Doug Deacon's name. So does anybody else want to mention Doug Deacon? You have $5.
Deacon,
Who wants
Doug
to-
Deacon.
Doug Deacon.
$5.
okay,
That's $30,
There's
Doug,
$30
right there.
Yeah, you're in for $30. While we've been off and doing other things, Al and Jerry here have been getting ready to do a video. I think you guys ought to do a video on defensive line play. These two guys went off in the corner and were doing swim moves and a whole bit. Bubba, tell me about, you guys still swap trade secrets, don't you?
I think in my case, Jerry was kind of somebody that most of us younger guys patterned ourselves after. No, I don't
hate
mean
it when
that
they
in,
say
in
that,
an
don't they?
offensive way, but I'd like for the people of Cleveland to know Jerry kind of is one of the reasons that people started keeping track of sacks. And it's, for me, I want you to know this in person, Jerry. I'm awfully flattered to get a chance to meet you in person, because when I watched you in my early days in my career, you were nothing less than awesome. And this is part of what today is about, to see the different groups of tradition. I mean, I feel like I've known all these guys all my life, and most of my career was spent in Detroit. So I'm really overwhelmed and flattered here, and I just want to get your autograph. If you believe. That's what I want.
He's smoothing you for
And
something.
who do I
here.
make that check
There
out to?
could be a whole lot of barbecue sauce going back to San Diego
Well,
with you.
Yeah.
Distribution.
There you go. Yeah.
It is funny that Bubba and I speak a language that not very many people speak, of arm overs and inside gaps and different things like that.
My
So-
wife-
My
funny.
wife understands it.
Bubba said you guys were thinking alike and everything. I didn't know defensive linemen thought it.
Oh,
Isn't that why they made him defensive linemen?
Well, we
or
didn't-
offensive linemen who couldn't think?
illegal procedure.
We didn't have to think going against you guys.
Okay, now,
Okay, it's back to the office.
Brian, did you ever know that this stuff was going on in the lines? I mean, you guys kind of try to take care of business, and down in the trenches, this is the kind of stuff that was going
Well,
on.
I don't ever remember this kind of conversation. All I heard out of our defensive lineman was it right, left, or straight?
You know, and you talk about this stuff going on, there always was a lot of chatter going on. There were certain players that would try to talk to you and intimidate you. And
Who was the biggest talker on the
I-
defensive line when you were out?
I would say, well, I know Bubba liked to talk over there a good bit.
No.
But a classic story, and it's a true story. We were playing in Detroit, and we had a second-round draft pick, Sammy Clapham, got his first start at offensive tackle. Somebody had gone down. I forget who got injured. And Sammy's starting. We play in Detroit. And Bubba had, I don't know how many sacks you had that year, but you had a phenomenal year that year. And Sammy is scared to death, so he's going against Bubba. Bubba had 4 sacks before we'd even gotten going pretty good, and this kid is scared to death and just in a shell. Sammy Jack's dead, and the defensive lineman over there going, kill, Bubba, kill. And this poor guy, Sammy Jack, wanted to pull a hamstring or something and get down there, but that was one of the worst performances I ever saw.
Now, Brian, this wasn't you going down that day, was it? You weren't the one taking the beating that day, was it?
Who was the quarterback that day?
That'd have been maybe.
It was.
Was it?
I think that was one of your concussion days, maybe.
Bubba, you remember everybody you ever sacked. Come on.
No, actually, you know, when I hear these kinds of stories, the only things that really stick out, I don't know about for you, Jerry, is the guys that ate your lunch. You know, you just kind of really remember the guy who had your number.
Who had your number?
Oh, man, I'll tell you, my worst experience was I was in the Pro Bowl, and in the same situation, I got a backup tackle, and I think his name was like Wojciechowski for the Bears. He played one game. He had a weird number like 98, and he was scared to death, and I was a little overconfident. I never saw Avellini. I never made a tackle. And the only way I got a sack was that bag lunch they gave you on the bus when the game was over.
You know, it's funny. I played against for the Colts, and this guy was the worst player I ever played against. Dominating, just going through the motions, and he beat me for a sack. And that game stands out as one of the low points in my career. I let that guy beat me one play.
But those are the easy ones turn out to be the hard ones. How many wide open guys, you knew they were wide open, they knew they were wide open, did you miss? Or did you ever, you know, well, okay, you never did miss
Why
one,
are we
sorry.
talking about all the guys I missed?
Well, they're all telling stories
we
about
all
getting
know I
dogged
missed
here.
a few. Thanks a lot. I completed a lot of passes to the other side,
Yes, you
though.
did. You did. You still, we were talking about that. You still hold the team record for interceptions, which fortunately, because the history stays here with the team, some guy in the next decade is going to get a chance to make a run at that interception record.
I've got a feeling it's going to stand a while, unfortunately.
Dick, nobody ever gave you trouble.
No. There's Andy Robustelli, Ernie Stauntner, Doug Atkins. I played 6 games a year against them. We only played 12 games, and I played. And they're all in the Hall of Fame in Canton. I know, thanks to a lot of my performances.
Did they thank you?
Yeah,
in their speech?
They send me Christmas presents, and you know, I help them out very well. But no, we just we never passed much.
Yeah.
That was the way we countered that. We ran Jim Brown, Leroy Kelly,
not a bad
and
way to
maybe
do it.
throw once in a quarter. That was kind of nice.
The game helped.
That couldn't have been much fun. No pass.
I loved it.
Oh, man, no thank you.
I tell you what, it has been a special day for me to get a chance to sit around and just swap stories. The swapping of stories may go on for a little while after we get off the air, because this has been a great time through the generations, just talking to you guys and reminiscing about the games that were played here. This was a very special place, and we're not, even when the new place comes up, Paul Brown Plaza or with it and everything. Jerry, it's going to be, there'll be a lot, some of us that goes with this when it comes down, won't it?
Yeah, it really will. I mean, this is a really special place, and what's made it special is, you know, I think in part the 60s, the 50s and 60s, all those great teams that we had, and Dick Shafrath here really represents that. We had some success, but the Jim Brown years, Dick Shafrath.
The people that were special that played here, even more special, the people who came here and watched you guys play. That's why everybody has come back today and this coming weekend and certainly for years to come. Thanks a lot to the Coffee and Bakery House in Garfield Heights for being with us today. And thanks to all you guys. This has been awesome. Again, thank you, Cleveland Stadium, for all the great memories. Let's go to Jenny for the news, and we'll bid adieu from the lakefront and the lady on the lake.